Welcome back, otakus. This is AWBrawler for Eat Strange Empire Arcadia, back again for no reason. This time playing Legend of Zelda Hyrule Warriors. You might as well call it Legend of Zelda because it's very Zelda-like. The topic this time, I really didn't have a single topic in mind by itself when I was playing Mario Kart last time. But this go around, I actually have a topic in mind. Like, I talked a little too long about story development in games. I just want to talk about just the evolution of gaming in general and what I think needs to change most, not counting story. Because I've said more than enough on that. First and foremost, the general, not the general consensus, but the public opinion of gaming needs to change first before anything else. Because the public opinion is in line with something I did mention on the other one. It's like people that are making the games have decided, hey, gaming is not cool anymore. Let's make gaming like movies. So, first and foremost, one of the main things we need to change about gaming is trying so hard to make it cinematic. Like, for example, how Rewards, a lot of people is actually mad that they didn't voice it. And I'm like, well, the narrator voices does a voice, but this part, I'm like, hey, it's a Zelda game. Did you really expect the voice? That's right, Zelda game, not a Zelda movie. And there's already people saying they better talk on the next Zelda. And I'm like, I don't care if they don't talk on the next Zelda. I really don't. Again, I don't have anything against voicing, voice acting. I'm not saying don't have any voice acting. I'm not saying voice acting is evil. Don't put words in my mouth. Some of you will do this anyway. Waste my breath. You know who you are. But at the same time, you shouldn't knock the game for not having voice acting. It means the game is just not afraid to be a game. Is it reminding you, the player, that you're part of the game? But that's one of the main things with the game. You want to feel like you're part of the game. You don't want to just... Like, one of the main things I play is a lot of turn-based games, the RPGs. But even with those turn-based games, I feel like I'm part of it. I feel like I'm controlling something. Like, you don't... That's how you know when a game is working, you just feel disconnected. Like, you ever just play a game where you're listening, you're seeing a story, and you're like, this is amazing, but at the same time, you're like, I don't feel like I'm doing anything. I'm just pressing one button and the character does everything for me. That's not cool. It's like, almost like they have a win button. So, that's... So, the whole image of what gaming is needs to change, because there's too many people who just want to make movies. So gaming needs to be more games. Like, there were all kind of... One thing you can say a lot of things about the Wii, love it or hate it. You just scream to you blue in the face, oh, I'm a grown man, I don't play video games, oh, the Wii. But one thing you gotta say is that it had lots of creative game ideas. Whether it was second quickly, whether it was boom blocks, whether it was even something like Mario Galaxy as opposed to Mario Sunshine. It had interesting creative ideas. Deadly creatures. You played as a dang spider and a scorpion. The Blob, which pretty much I feel like was probably the basis of how Splatoon came to be. See, I feel like The Blob. There was a lot of creative games on the Wii. You cannot deny that. No one can. So to go along with that, oh, it has to be a movie. To go along with that is also the conception that there's the idea that for a game to be enjoyable by an adult, it must be rated M. Well, that's pretty dang funny, because most of the games I enjoy the most happen to fall under the E rating or T. Tales of Symphonia is still one of my favorite games of all time. It's not my favorite game ever, but it's one of them. Rated T. Now, if you want to know my favorite game of all time, it's actually an E-rated game. Mischief Makers from Nintendo 64. with Kid Icarus Uprising is right behind that, but it's a bit too new. It just came out, so I can't say anything about Kid Icarus Uprising. But Mischief Makers for Nintendo 64, my favorite game of all time, rated E. My favorite RPG of all time, Tales of Symphonia, rated T. But for some reason, people have this conception that in their head, there's this whole misconception in their head that, oh, I only can play M-rated games by my adult or like I'm a kid. Sometimes T-rated games have deeper things going on than M-rated games. Like, if you just played Tales of Symphonia, you knew what was going on in that game. You know the things they deal with, like racism, discrimination, false religions, and everything they deal with in that game is a lot deeper than a Grand Theft Auto type of story. It's a lot deeper than a Call of Duty type of story. I mean, T-rated game, but M-rated. T-rated game, but M-rated topic that the game is about. Like, there's just certain things in that game that a kid will not understand, that a kid will not get that. That's some stuff for grown men to think of under on, like, man, that's cool. So a rating doesn't always mean, oh, this is for adults, but that seems to be the consensus. This seems to be the idea behind games these days. Everybody wants to believe, oh, this must be rated M for me to play it. I'm a grown man. I don't play kiddie stuff. Okay, E doesn't mean kiddie, okay? It's rated E for everyone. Everyone, not K for kiddie. If you want a kiddie, if you don't want to play kiddie game, you don't get anything that's EC, which is early childhood. Now, by all means, don't play early childhood games. They tell you, yes, those are for kids, early childhood. But E means everyone, not kids. It's not rated K, it's not rated kiddie. And half the games are rated M should be rated I for immature, because it's immature things going on. We know most of these M-rated games are really aimed at. And most of these M-rated games are really aimed at teenagers who want to feel edgy and tough. I mean, it's kind of crazy when you think about it, that people have to try so hard. I mean, it's not just a gaming thing, it's something that spreads out to basically all of everything. All of it, it's just a, I don't know, I guess it's just an American view on things. It spreads across everything in this country, where it's like, you have to watch stuff that's for adults. You gotta reassert over and over, oh, I'm an adult, I'm grown, I'm an adult, I'm grown. If you have to keep reasserting that you're an adult and that you're grown, maybe you're not and you're really immature. I mean, it's almost akin to like when there's a kid who learns how to use potty training for the first time. And they're going, look, and they start using the big boy potty, as they call it. And they're like, yeah, I'm a big boy, I can use a big potty, I'm a big boy. Okay, good for you. Now, when that's a kid, that's funny, that's cute, like, oh, look, he's so happy to use the big boy potty. When you're a grown man, you gotta keep asserting, I'm grown, I'm black, I'm grown. You start to sound like a kid, I'm a big boy, I'm a big boy, I'm a big boy. That's just, no. You don't have to do that. It's okay. It's okay. You're past that age. It's A-okay. Regardless of what you do at this point, you will never be a kid again, okay? Don't freak out. You know, people say you're kiddie and you act like if you're playing kiddie games or whatever. You're not a kid. Calm down. Playing E-rated games are not going to make you revert to wearing diapers, okay? There's nothing to fear here. I'm convinced some people think like that. They're like, oh, if I play that, I'm going to start wearing diapers again. Oh, if I watch that show, and it's not really for adults, I'm going to start being a kid again. No. Again, I'm not, and again, before words get thrown in my mouth and I get everything twisted, I'm not saying M-rated games are bad. I am not saying M-rated games are bad. Like, repeat that, brother. Because I know you're probably watching this. I'm not saying M-rated games are bad. I have a lot of M-rated games that I like. I love the No More Heroes series. I love Mad World. I love Halo. I love Uncharted. Yes, there are M-rated games that I like. I like a lot of M-rated games. I'm not saying M-rated games are bad, but when a game is just, like, you know, when a game's purpose is just pushing the envelope to be rated M just for the sake of sales. Excuse me. Like some games, you can tell they could have done it without an M rating, but they just decided, oh, I need the M rating so I can get that extra edge, and the kids think I can do it. Keep working at kids. And then at the end of the day, trying to assert your masculinity or your maturity through video games, you've already failed. Because at the end of the day, whether you want to admit it or not, video games are toys. I know, comment section is exploding. You can't say that, A-Dub, because it plays movies. Okay. There was a Barbie toy that came with a little miniature VCR size screen that played tapes. And it played tapes and you could watch actual movies on it back in the day. Does that mean that Barbie toy is for adults? No, it's still a toy. What's the deal? But they have footballs and Toys R Us too. That's not a toy. Yes, it is. It's a ball. What is a ball? It's a toy. So yes, the sport football is a bunch of grown men in tights playing with a toy. We don't want to word it that way because we love football, but yes, that's what it is. It's a bunch of grown men in tights playing with a toy. Now, the day you can go into Toys R Us and buy a shotgun, a John Deere rider mower, or a chainsaw, you let me know. Until then, it's a toy. It's a selling at Toys R Us. So trying to assert your masculinity or prove your maturity by saying I only play M-rated games, I'm a grown man. No, you're still playing a toy. But that's okay. It's a-okay. Because they're fun toys. We don't have stuff with. Heck, we have Skylanders and Amiibos and Disney Infinity figures to go along with that toy. So we can have toys while we play with that toy. Exhibit joke. So yes, they are toys. We just don't want to say that because the whole image, the whole thing that we have built in our head that, oh, we have to be from, we have to be big now. Look, I have met lots and lots of just dead, boring adults in my life. Just super boring. I don't know what the heck is going on with adults. And I've always said I don't want to grow to be one of those really just boring adults that whenever I have kids, they're like, oh, daddy, you suck, you're boring. No, I don't want to be that. Again, I'm not trying to be their friend either, but I don't want to be the one that's, oh, he's boring. Yeah, that's no fun for me or anybody. But apparently, I don't know when it happened. And then it's not just the adults either. It's gotten so bad to the point where kids are afraid to be kids now. Kids even want to be adults. Like, we were wind back to when I was a kid. We're wind back to those mid, late 80s and 90s. Oh, kids weren't afraid to be kids. We walked around school with Giga Pets and Pikachu pals and friendly, trading baseball cards and talking about silly Saturday morning cartoons. Like with Louie and Spider-Man, and we ate Fruit Loops. We didn't care. We were kids. You see kids now, especially with all the social media and everything going on, you'll see kids now and they'll try to dress like an adult, try to act like an adult, try to talk like an adult with a vulgar language. They'll even try to put this up in adult situations, like try to get jobs early. Like, what's the rush? You're only a child 17 years of your life. Because the moment you turn 18, they start trying you as an adult. So don't rush it. Enjoy the childhood while you can. But that's what's going on. I mean, and stuff like that, even I mean, to bring it back, because this is about gaming, but stuff like that even affecting the game. Because certain games that I feel like would do a lot better had they came out in like the late 90s or the late 80s. Back when kids were not afraid to be kids and like things that were made for kids. Now it's so crazy. That's why I laugh when people call Nintendo a kiddie console. It's so funny when I think about it because being actually, you know, being someone who's actually inside, not an outsider looking in, being someone who's actually on the Weverse and talking to Nintendo fans and stuff, I know that a good chunk of the people on here are adults who have their own kids. So it's not all kids playing, no, it's adults too. It's the adults that are playing. And then the funny thing, the main thing that the kids are playing is the thing that everybody thinks is the hardcore mature thing. Like you have like I hate to use that example because you guys are gonna say I'm trying to bash Xbox. I'm not bashing Xbox. I'm just saying Xbox Live on games like Call of Duty. You hear a bunch of kids screaming and yelling and throwing out racist remarks all the time. All the time. Meanwhile, me and my nephew can hop on Monster Hunter any given time and find people who sit there and have just intelligent conversation about the game industry or just about Monster Hunter in general, and no one's cussing anybody out, calling people racial slurs, screaming. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, but Nintendo's the immature one that has all the babies on it, right? Then why in the world do I have normal conversation on this, as opposed to people screaming and calling me all kind of things that rhymes with bigger, if you know what I'm saying. So it's crazy that they focus so hard on this and don't even notice. I'm like, okay, maybe just maybe you might have the most, maybe just maybe you might be playing in the most immature environment while trying to assert your authority as an adult. Yeah, way to go. They kind of remind me of there's an episode of The Amazing World of Gumball. Yes, I watch Gumball because I don't care if people know I like cartoons. It's funny, Gumball is funny. There's an episode on The Amazing World of Gumball where they're playing tennis against these people who keep spamming the word hardcore. And every time I see that episode, I laugh and say it reminds me of like fanboys who scream about being hardcore. Because these guys are so busy trying to prove how hardcore they are. They're Gumball in the jar when they're just walking away like, okay, we're not hardcore. We didn't say we're hardcore. Leave us alone. And then their teacher gets involved, and he really is like the face of the internet troll fanboys who calls everything. Because he comes about them like, oh, what's wrong, kids? You scared? Yeah, you scared? Yeah. Just making all kind of stupid noises and teasing them. And he said, are you afraid? And Gumball says, well, yeah, you're a grown man and you're young enough, so yeah, we're afraid. It's kind of funny because that's what it's like to me. So I'm like, okay, if you think Nintendo is only kids, then why are you mocking and teasing them like that? It comes off as you acting like that teacher. I mean, okay, he knows they're kids, and if he knows they're kids, why is he in there teasing them for being kids? That's stupid. That's what you're doing. You're like, oh, I think Nintendo is kids. Let me tease them. Ooh, kids, you got your kiddie games. They're like, right. Now, again, all of them are not kids, but some of them are. A pretty good size is kids. So when you're doing that, when you're going on YouTube, on forums, and you're cussing people out and calling them kids, and like, I don't like all that kiddie stuff, and not using words, and I'm like, okay, you are in fact doing what that guy from Gumball was doing. You're yelling and screaming and causing a scene, teasing kids for liking what kids should like. And then you get mad when they try to be adults before their time and get involved in some stupid stuff and end up being 12 with 3 babies. Triplets. It can happen, shut up. But I like it, yeah, I'm like, okay, well, if you did try to force them into being grown before their time and just let kids be freaking kids, you would have had it. But that's a story for another time. But that's what they come off as. They come off as like a weird hardcore episode. I'm like, okay, you think they're kids, so you tease them for being kids and say, oh, this kid is playing kiddie games. They would make about as much sense as a kid teasing an adult. They say, oh, look at the old man. The old man is wearing old man shoes. He got an old man cane. Well, those shoes are made to help the old guy feet down when you walk anything. Maybe that cane was made to help the old man so they don't fall over. That's stupid. Or it's like a kid teasing the adult, like, oh, look at the adult going, look at these grown men going to this grown man job, watching this grown man show. He's watching CSI. Ooh, you feel big, don't you? Kids don't do that, no. But we do that to kids in the gaming industry. That's why gamers are not taken seriously to this day. How the heck do you expect them to take us seriously when we're teasing children? Children, we're mocking and teasing kids, going, oh, you like the kids and stuff. And you expect them to take us seriously. That's just stupid as heck. And just thinking about that pisses me off. You want to be taken seriously, and you want games to be taken seriously, but you tease anything that's not meant. Yeah, good luck with that. Unless we change, that's one of the main things. Unless we change that about games, it's never going to be taken seriously. It's just not. It's the only medium where it's A-okay to tease a kid and mock a kid, or what you believe to be a kid because he played on a system that you think is a kid. Like in paint, it's not okay in painting. It's not okay in music. Like in painting, if there was some young prodigy painter, it would not be cool by any stretch of imagination to go to a young prodigy painter, like, oh, this kid sucks. Hey kid, you suck. Give up on life. Stop painting. You would probably get way more flack and hate than that kid ever would. They would probably just disown you from the entire painting community. You can't do that. But in gaming, you can walk up to a child, a kid. Well, not walk up to him, but you can be online and talk to a kid. So he clearly makes it known that he's a kid, and tease him and say, you suck, you only play Nintendo. And like, but he's a kid. And you yourself say you think Nintendo's for kids, and the kid is playing it. So you mock him. Why? It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But you want to be taken seriously. Nah, they're gonna laugh at you. They're gonna call you crazy. And then some of the stupid arguments that happen in the gaming community is why we can't be taken seriously. Everybody seems to have the mentality, I hate this, so this should not exist. I'm like, okay, I don't care for first-person shooters. Do I think first-person shooters should not exist? No, I just think I should not buy them. Problem solved. So there's some people like, oh, Nintendo should not have, I don't like Nintendo, so they shouldn't have a console. No, you don't like Nintendo, then you should not buy them. Just like I don't care too much for any Microsoft products at all. I really hate Windows 8. And guess what? I don't have an Xbox. I played on every Xbox that's been out so far, including Xbox One. Have I ever owned one? Nope. Don't care to own one. Now that doesn't mean I don't want it to exist. That just means I don't like enough to buy it. I've had PlayStations, I've had Nintendo games, I've had Sega games. Dreamcast is still my favorite console. Only thing that means is that, hey, I don't like it, I shouldn't buy it. But everybody has the mentality that I don't like this, so it shouldn't exist. And you have a lot of gamers doing it like, oh, I hate this. And so, like, how do you expect anyone to take you seriously at all? When every time there's something you don't like, you just argue and rant about, oh, this should exist, and you have stupid arguments and stuff about console wars and blah blah and all of that. And I'm like, dude, you don't work for this company. Why do you care how many they sell? Only time you really should care about how much it sells is like what happened with Fire Emblem. When Nintendo said Fire Emblem must sell 1 million for another sequel. So if you're a Fire Emblem fan and you want a sequel, yeah, you want to make sure it's sold as 1 million. It did 4 times that and then some, but you want to make sure it does that. That's the only time you should care, for something like that. Because then that determines if you get another one of your favorite games or not. Or if it's just selling so horribly you think it's going to be discontinued, like Dreamcast did or something. Yeah, then you worry. And I mean that very strictly. Some people will joke like, well, Wii U was selling like this at one point, so it would be, no. There was never any fear of that being discontinued, and we knew there was no fear of that being discontinued. It was just fanboy propaganda. So like the whole immature behavior in the gaming community is what really throws off a whole lot of people and ward people off from wanting to join into this discourse community that we created and become a game. So until we stop these stupid, pointless arguments for no reason, stop attacking kids for liking kid stuff, stop attacking grown-ups for liking what we think is kids because it's rated E, and just accept gaming for what it is. I mean, you kind of have to have the approach that I have with anime. Like, if you follow me, you know I'm also on the Anime 3000 podcast a lot. In one of the recent episodes, there was an anime that came up that I liked, and they were kind of teasing. It was jokingly, but kind of teasing about it. And I'm like, look, I'm an anime fan, so I like all anime. I very rarely find anime I hate, and even when it's one I hate, I'm like, okay, I can't stand this, but somebody somewhere does. Someone somewhere likes it.
Deep in the forests,
so you kind of have to have that approach. So even with the things that I don't care for in gaming, I know that somebody somewhere likes it. That's why even with my video before this, when I was talking about how to change the story, I didn't say everything needs to get rid of cutscenes. I didn't say I hate cutscenes. I never said that. I just said that they should evolve and change the way that cutscenes and story in games are told. You know, do it another way to let you interact with it more, because gaming is about interactivity and immersing the player, and above anything else, fun. 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 What happened to fun for fun's sake? Until next time, this is AWBrawler for East Range and Empire Arcadia, saying be you, be true, be human. Again, if you have anything you'd like to hear me discuss on my next For No Reason video, you can just leave it in the bottom of the comments. Message me directly on Twitter or on the Facebook page as well. Again, the games that I will be playing, I got cut off last time before I could say it. The games that I will be playing on stream consist of Mario Kart, Hyrule Warriors, Smash Bros, Monster Hunter, Ken's Rage, and just about anything I feel like playing. I may be playing Disney Infinity one time. Who knows?
The whispering darkness wormed its way.
So I'll shut up and let this cutscene finish, and we are done with this video. And that's all for today.
Into a desperate desire to possess the legendary hero's soul. Of course, this evil had its own desires. To use the Triforce to resurrect itself and conquer Hyrule once again. Having pushed the light from her heart, the darkness compelled her to open the Gate of Souls, the doorway of time itself. Monsters from across the ages pour through the gate, bringing ruin to the land of Hyrule once more.